Hi everyone, good Thursday afternoon and welcome to GoLocal Live. I'm GoLocal News Editor Kate Nagel. Thanks for tuning in for the latest in news, politics, lifestyle, and sports. We've got a great show for you today. I'd like to kick off with a familiar face. Bob Vincent, Chair of IGT, thank you for joining us today.
Nice to see you, Kate.
Just saw you the other day up at the State House getting an update on IGT's requested 20-year contract extension. First and foremost, want to talk a little bit about how the hearings have gone. Obviously, we heard from the governor, heard from IGT, heard from others as well. What's your take on how it's transpired so far?
We're quite encouraged. We're finally in the fact-finding stage, if you will. The merits are being discussed. We had a meeting in the Senate. IGT did not participate. We're invited to do so next week. And one in the House the same way. The governor showed up in the House, did, I thought, a great job of talking about the economic development aspects of the arrangement. Her staff came on along with the other people from the Department of Revenue and the lottery, and I thought they did a great job of giving the legislators a perspective on what the lottery is. It was Lottery 101 in many senses, but also a discussion of the economic development agreement we have, some of the key components of it, and in general, I thought it was a very fair and a good hearing. I thought both of them were. The Senate as well. The Senate's taking a more lengthy review of the proposal. They're doing 5 hearings. I think have 5 planned at least, and each hearing has a specific topic. So that one's been, you know, a little bit more elongated, but we're in the midst of it now, and that feels good.
And talk a little bit about questions that you heard from legislators. Do you think they have a good understanding now, as hearing processes are intended to be, in terms of what that contract extension exactly entails?
I think they are. In fairness to them, it's not a subject matter they deal with regularly, so you know, it takes a lot of explanation from some of the basic items, how revenues are counted, how you generate revenues, the kind of technology that are involved, the various aspects of the current master contract as well as the future extension of it. So they've gone through it. I think they asked good questions. Many of them would tell you they're still learning. There was a lot of information provided. But you know, it boils down to they want to understand the terms. They want to know that the terms are market-driven and they're fair to the state. They'd like to know about the employees. We've told them and provided them information about the size of our payroll, the number of employees we have, and what that means for the Rhode Island economy. They're impressed by that, but they're going to delve further into all of that, I think. But it's been very encouraging. The questioning has been good. I think folks want to know, is there a premium being paid here? That was one of the questions that came up. And essentially, what we've tried to demonstrate, I think the administration did a good job of saying the fees that we're getting for those services, the central systems we're providing, are market-driven rates. They're very comparable to other states that we can look at, both West Virginia and Delaware and places like that are similar in size and demographics. And the fees that we get there are lower in Rhode Island, and in some case comparable. The fees we pay for the slot machines at Twin River, that's set by law at 7%, but New York, which is a much larger market, pays 6.9% to their providers. Delaware pays 7%. Okay. So that's pretty much market driven. So for us as a company, the premium is the term for 20 years. That's very advantageous to us to be able to look at that and know that that business will be there and grow over the next 20 years. It's a little bit longer than some other contracts, so I thought the administration did a very good job of pointing out that the trends right now in the industry is to go for 15 to 20-year contracts, so it's not all that unique.
Okay. I think you made that point was me, because oftentimes we do look myopically here in Rhode Island without looking sort of outside the confines, but clearly that was brought up during the hearings. Let's talk a little bit as well about Twin River announcing that they were looking to partner with Camelot, a UK-based company, to be able to provide services if this was to go out to bid. GoLocal has covered this quite a bit, looking to see how Camelot has operated here in the country. But give us the breakdown about Camelot, because there's Camelot UK, there's Camelot Lottery Services in the U.S. It's just not one ubiquitous name and entity. So can you break it down a little bit for us?
Yeah, I mean, we know them well. Camelot really has one major contract. That's the UK lottery. We've been involved as their technology supplier since the very first license. They're on their third now, looking to bid the fourth license. So we know that organization well. They look at, I think that's coming into other markets. They try to say what a great lottery provider they are. We think they are a good lottery management team and a sales team. But just to give you some perspective, the UK lottery, their largest contract by far, did about $8.8 billion worth in US dollars of wagers last year. The Italian lottery, that's run by IGT, did about $18.8 billion in wagers last year. And so, we're twice the size of it, very well run lottery. When you look at lotteries in Europe as to reference points of one of the best run lotteries, you look to IGT in Italy for the size and magnitude and scope of what they do. And that's just lottery. We do other things in Italy as well. But Camelot, and again, both of those lottery systems, as big as they are run by IGT Solutions and IGT Technology. The Twin River proposal was kind of baffling. I kind of looked at it as a PR thing. They announced it the day of the hearings. Twin River doesn't have any technology. They don't make gaming machines, but yet they say they'll supply the gaming machines. Camelot doesn't have any technology, and the group at Camelot that's doing it is really a sales and marketing group here in the U.S. that's trying what they can to try and generate some business outside of the U.K. They have no technology. When they need technology, they acquire it, and for the biggest and most important contracts, they acquire it from IGT. So I think from what I've heard from folks in the legislature and elsewhere, it's a kind of a head scratcher. Why would we put people in between the suppliers just to add more money onto what we're spending rather than go direct to the technology providers like IGT that have established and do a great job with it?
I think that was probably one of my questions when I saw that release. Basically saying it would mirror everything that IGT has said it would do, but somehow do it cheaper. Have the same 1,100 jobs. I don't know how that could be recreated.
I thought the jobs thing just had no credibility whatsoever. There are not 1,100 jobs sitting somewhere waiting to come to Rhode Island. You have 1,100 jobs here now with IGT, but to say, oh, we'll bring in 1,100 jobs and make them as, if you have 1,100 jobs here now that generate a payroll of over $110 million for the Rhode Island economy from IGT. We're here, our building's here, and to say, oh yeah, we can do that too, I think there's no credibility in that statement.
So before we go on to next steps, you are coming off the heels of a very successful 5K in the Providence Downtown 5K, and you participated. How was the day?
It was a great day. IGT was the sponsor of it. We've been sponsors in the past, along with CVS. This year we did it on our own. Great turnout. We had over 200 some odd employees from IGT that showed up. I came in, I'll leave it at 10th in my age group. I think everybody beyond 10th walked probably. But
Congratulations.
Nonetheless, that was great. That was a really great day. We enjoyed it a lot. The weather cooperated. Great turnout. So we're looking forward to continuing doing that year over year.
And we've talked about IGT's involvement in the community, and one of the always unique Rhode Island 2 degrees of separation segues. IGT is a sponsor of the Providence Gay Flag Football League, which just got a big sponsor that's going to be featured here next. So we'll be able to talk with them a little bit about what sponsorships mean to groups throughout the state, including theirs. So going back to next steps in the deliberation that is going to be before the Senate, as you said, breaking it down into more specific issue areas. Let's talk a little bit about that. Having gone through the House and now looking at the Senate, what really needs to be picked apart with an even finer tooth comb that you anticipate that the Senate is looking to find out?
I think the Senate will, they haven't done it yet. The House has. I think the Senate will hear from the same team. I believe the governor's going and will testify as well. So they'll hear about the proposed arrangement firsthand from the administration. I think they will be interested in the comparables, like I mentioned, to other states, and how you look at those, because it's very easy to pick up one of the trade pubs and say, well, Delaware pays this percentage and this state pays that percentage. There's the one thing that does come through. There's not a lot of comparability in these. Each state chooses to operate their lottery somewhat differently, and they procure what they want to procure. So where in one state we might be, just straight provision of technology for a percentage of revenues. Other states add on many other factors. They give you a flat fee for certain services. On top of that percentage. So you really need to look at the effective rate of these states as to all the things they include or don't include, and figure out whether or not they're comparable. And you have to look at demographics and population. You can't compare Rhode Island to Texas and California, obviously, but Delaware, West Virginia, places like that, you can.
Well, we're going to be hearing more from IGT and lottery officials in the coming weeks, as you said, with a lot more to be expected from the Senate. But with everything taking place these last couple of weeks, Bob Vincent, IGT Chair, I appreciate your taking the time to come in the studio and give us an update.
Thanks.
Okay.
Enjoyed it.
Thanks, Bob. And thank you for watching. We're going to be popping up back here downtown Providence shortly with, again, sports and the latest and some health and science. So when you see us pop up, watch us on GoLocal Live. I'm GoLocal News Editor Kate Nagel.